In winter conditions, vessels must keep close watch on their surroundings at all times. Look for and utilize leads and easier ice conditions. If your actual track goes through pack ice, you should find your way utilizing leads, patches of open water, and lighter ice conditions, avoiding any hard ice or thick ice flows. Note that large course alterations and deviations from the original track are often necessary, and the shortest route seldom is the fastest. The point of entry should be carefully selected. After the vessel has entered the ice field, speed can be increased as appropriate. Speed depends on ice conditions and the vessel's ice performance. Turning in ice. The danger of the stern swinging when passing through patches of open water or in leads risks damage to propeller or rudder. When entering ice, entry must be made at right angles to the ice. In light ice conditions, the vessel operates independently forward after the waypoints given by the icebreaker. If you are stuck, wait for the icebreaker, and when the icebreaker arrives, follow the icebreaker alone or as part of a convoy. When following the icebreaker, your vessel must obey the icebreaker's orders. You must control the distance to the icebreaker both visually and by radar. If another vessel is following your vessel, you should inform her immediately about all changes of your speed on VHF, especially if your speed is rapidly decreasing and there is a risk of getting stuck and thus a risk of collision. Constant radio contact, using good English, between your vessel and the icebreaker is a must. All doubts and questions must be clarified immediately with the icebreaker. If there is no pressure in the ice and the channel stays open, a longer distance can be kept between the icebreaker and the assisted vessel. If the assisted vessel gets stuck, the icebreaker will go astern to the side of the assisted vessel to cut it loose. To successfully break out of the channel, your ship should try to find weak ice. If you are overtaking a vessel in an ice field, you have to keep a safe passing distance. If you go too close, there is a risk of collision, or that both vessels will get stuck. Sometimes there is a need to pass a vessel on the opposite course in the ice channel. In this case, one of the vessels uses the existing channel, the other has to make a new one. The stronger vessel is recommended to break out of the ice channel, while the vessel with less ice performance is recommended to stop and wait. Before this operation, you have to make a plan with the other vessel by using VHF on how both vessels are acting. Distance between passing vessels must be sufficient so that there are always enough ice flows between them. If ice pressure occurs and the vessel seems to get stuck, try to find an easy place to stop. Keep the vessel in wind direction and await orders from the icebreaker. It is especially important to protect her rudder and propeller from ice damage when your vessel is moving astern. The rudder should always be amidships and the propeller should be rotating until the ship is finally stopped in the ice. When turning in ice, which should be seldom needed, the rudder should only be used when running ahead, Remember to keep the rudder dead amidships when going astern. When the track is closing rapidly, the escorted vessel must keep a close and safe distance to the icebreaker or be towed if progress is to be made. In different ice conditions, towing may be the only way of ensuring safe and effective assistance. The icebreaker always decides if and when towing is needed. The method normally used is notch towing. The vessel's bow is in contact with the towing notch of the icebreaker. The icebreaker will then give over 2 steel ropes that are to be fastened to the vessel's bollards. The assisted vessel's anchors must be pulled back or lifted onto the deck. Anchors located outside the hull can contact the towing notch and damage the rubber shield. There must be no protruding parts or any cutter at the bow of the merchant vessel that may damage the rubber shield of the towing notch. Vessels with a bulb are often a problem in winter navigation, especially in towing. Trimming is often the way to solve the problem. The icebreaker will inform you about any needed trimming. The icebreaker should be informed regarding the shape of the bulb. The icebreaker determines if notch towing is possible. The towed vessel is like a big rudder for the icebreaker. That's why it needs a helmsman who takes orders from the icebreaker to keep the towing straight. In some conditions, towing with a long cable, about 100 meters long, can be used. During towage, the assisted vessel uses its propulsion according to instructions from the icebreaker. The vessel in tow must use manual steering and try to stay in line with the icebreaker. The assisted vessel must be prepared to cast off the towing cable at any time. Sometimes the pilot embarks from the ice. In this case, a gangway or pilot ladder is rigged in the most convenient place. The pilot will tell the vessel where to stop. The ladder should extend down to sea level. Sometimes the pilot is transferred from the icebreaker. In this case, the icebreaker approaches the vessel, staying in the ice either by bow or by stern. The icebreaker transfers the pilot to the ship using landings or a crane. In the dark, the vessel uses her searchlights to find the ice channel. When the vessel is proceeding in convoy, it should be remembered that the light from the searchlight can easily blind the icebreaker or the vessel ahead. It's recommended to use lights below the bridge level for operation in snowing conditions. Reliable use of radar for ice navigation is a must. To get useful experience of radar in ice, it's recommended to use radar in good visibility in different ice conditions. 2 radars should be used, one for navigation and another for ice condition surveillance. The tuning of X-band radar is very sensitive, and it is important to get a good picture from ice X-band radar in the 1.5 to 3 nautical mile range. The pilot will give all necessary advice for harbour operations. During wintertime, port waters may be covered by broken or brash ice. The presence of ice makes mooring operations as well as tug assistance more difficult than usual. As soon as the vessel approaches the mooring position, tugs are used to wash the ice out between the vessel and the berth. It should be remembered that the ice between the vessel and the berth acts as a fender and does not allow fast mooring lines right to the berth. If the ice between the vessel and the berth is not washed out, the rigging of the ladder and cargo operations become more difficult. Have a safe and successful voyage.